Bill O'Reilly here. You are listening to the O'Reilly Update. Coming up next, the news with Mike Slater.
Thank you, Bill. It is Monday, June 19th, 2023. Here's what's happening today in America. A majority think he's too old, and a majority think she is a grifter. The ACLU misses the plot, and the origins of Father's Day. That's all coming up. And then Bill will be back with your message of the day. But first, new poll says half of all Democrats say Joe Biden is too old for the job. 71% of all Americans. 52% say they are worse off since he became president. The other day at a gun control rally in Connecticut, where he said guns are the number one killer of kids in America, which isn't true. Accidents are the leading cause of death in children. Guns would be the leading cause of death if you exclude kids under 1 and include 18 and 19-year-olds. And most of that is gang violence. But that's just your run-of-the-mill politicians lying. He ended his speech with "God save the Queen," man. Joe Biden is already the nation's oldest president ever. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were fired from their Spotify contract. They signed it 3 years ago, $20 million. But reports say they will not get that full amount because they never produced enough content. They were supposed to come up with multiple podcasts, and they came up with one, Archetypes, where Meghan Markle interviewed celebrities, and they whined about how hard women have it in America today. She did 12 episodes. Just the other day, Warner Brothers dumped Patrice Cullors. She was the founder of BLM. They gave her a ton of money to come up with TV shows. 3 years later, she came up with zero. The head of Spotify's podcast division said Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are blanking grifters. Dwayne Owen was executed in the state of Florida. The ACL tweeted, "The state of Florida has never provided medically necessary gender-affirming care for Dwayne Owen, causing her enormous suffering and violating her right to be free from cruel and unusual punishment for the more than 30 years she was in state custody." Now, they left out a bit of important context. He raped and murdered a 14-year-old while she was babysitting, and then murdered a 38-year-old woman. He was sentenced to 6 life sentences. Psychiatrists say he faked being transgender. He's been on death row for 40 years. Hope you had a nice Father's Day yesterday. 2 origin stories to Father's Day. One, that it was started in 1908 after a mining accident in West Virginia that killed 361 men. 250 of them were fathers. The other story is in 1910 in Washington. A woman and her 5 brothers listened to a sermon celebrating Mother's Day, and she thought dads deserved a day too. Bill O'Reilly with your message of the day. Next.
The chairman of the Fed is promising more pain ahead. Last year, stocks dropped 20%, and this year could be worse. You are right to be worried. So please call the only precious metal dealer I trust, American Hartford Gold. They'll show you how to protect your savings and retirement accounts by diversifying your portfolio with physical gold and silver. Since I have been a client and spokesperson, the price of gold has appreciated more than 35%. So please call today and they'll have physical gold and silver delivered right to your door or put inside your IRA or 401k. Tell them Bill O'Reilly sent you, and they will give you up to $5,000 of free silver on your first order. Please call 877-444-GOLD, 877-444-GOLD, or text GOLD GOLD to 65532. Again, 877-444-GOLD, or text GOLD to 65532. Time now for the O'Reilly Update message of the day. It's all about artificial intelligence. It's coming up faster than most people believe. So 25% of jobs will be negatively impacted in the next 5 years, according to World Economic Forum. That's 25% of all jobs all over the world, which means you're going to take a salary cut or you're going to be dismissed. A study by Goldman Sachs predicts that the fast-growing mass adoption of AI will impact 300 million jobs globally. Now, that means some jobs will be created, but others will be banished. But 300 million jobs. And this is where it comes home to you and your kids and your friends. So, how do you protect yourself? If you are a low-level worker, a wage earner, that is working in the service industry, or you're doing something that is easily replaced. You got to go back to school, community college, or online, and you got to get a skill. Skilled people will always be needed. If you can make a company money, they'll hire you despite the health and all of that. Okay? Skilled people. But if you have no skills and no education, and you can barely speak English, and you have a tattoo on your forehead, believe me, you are going to be really up against it. And the American welfare state is going to increase exponentially because people will not be able to make a living in the lower strata. You're going to have to be able to do something. Everybody has talents. Figure it out what yours is and develop it to the highest degree. I'm Bill O'Reilly. I approve the message by writing it. You can reach me, Bill at BillO'Reilly.com, Bill at BillO'Reilly.com, name and town if you wish to opine. Now let's go to the mail. Chris Breen, Las Vegas, I would be singing Hey, 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 Goodbye when The View is finally off the air. Okay, The View, you know, this is a progressive show. It's Disney Corporation. No balance. Jim Fredericks, New Berlin, Wisconsin. The Biden administration is about to tack on a $40 a month mortgage tax on home buyers with good credit or to subsidize borrowers with bad credit. That's government mortgages, not private. Just know that. Okay, know that. Phil Hoderling, Parker, Colorado. You mentioned that Fox does not want Trump to be president. Why? Their management, the ownership doesn't. They want DeSantis. I haven't talked to them, but they're public about it. John Browning, Allen, Texas, another former Fox News watcher here. We just signed up for premium membership. Watching the No Spin News is like coming home. Your thoughtful insights always make us smarter, and your gentle humor leaves us smiling. What a nice letter, John. I appreciate that. We're glad you're here. You and thousands of others, new subscribers. Buddy Redoble. And Buddy is in Peoria, Arizona. My wife and I are in our late 70s. We've been loyal Fox viewers. Our disappointment has steadily grown since you departed. And now we are not going to watch any longer. Okay. And it's your choice as a consumer, and that's send messages like the Bud Light thing. In a moment, something you might not know. If you own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles and have an auto warranty about to expire or have no warranty at all, listen up. Car Shield has a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that's now available to the public. Save on out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. So please call Car Shield now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. 800-925-7584 for a free quote. This protection plan is at an all-time low in price. Drivers who activate the vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing and car rental options at no additional cost. So please call for your free quote, 800-925-7584, 800-925-7584. Hey, what do you have to lose? 800-925-7584. Now the O'Reilly Update brings you something you might not know. It is June 19th. For millions of Americans, that means the celebration of Juneteenth. The holiday marks the end of slavery in the USA, and here is the story. The Atlantic slave trade commenced in the 16th century when Spain began shipping kidnapped Africans to the Caribbean. The first boatload of captives arrived in North America at Jamestown, Virginia, in August 1619. By the middle of the 18th century, slavery could be found in all 13 colonies and formed the core of the Southern economy. In 1807, America had a population of about 4 million slaves. Some Southern congressmen did join with the North in voting to abolish the importation of new African slaves. The law, though, had absolutely no effect on the domestic slave trade, which was thriving throughout the South. By the end of the Civil War, more than 12 million Americans had been shipped across the ocean as cargo. On June 19th, 1865, 2 years after Abraham Lincoln had freed the slaves with the Emancipation Proclamation, Union soldiers finally arrived in Galveston, Texas. Most people there were completely unaware that the Civil War was even over. Those who did know concealed the news from local slaves. 250,000 captives were freed by federal troops. The date marks the official end of slavery in the United States. Texas began celebrating Juneteenth in 1979. 2 years ago, Congress passed a resolution establishing the date as a national holiday. And here's something else you might not know. The Atlantic slave trade is one of the most catastrophic institutions in human history. For centuries, 15 million Africans were shipped across the ocean. 3 million died during the voyages. Today, the United Nations estimates there are 50 million slaves held captive around the world. Ironically, most in Africa. Back after this.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids, no matter where you are. Call now, 800-575-1102. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-1102. That's 800-575-1102. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Thank you for listening to the O'Reilly Update. I am Bill O'Reilly. No spin, just facts, and always looking out for you.